Joining us online are two highly accomplished alumni who also happen to be a wonderful couple. Mr. Jayant Khanolkar, former director at P&G UK, now an independent consultant, and Mrs. Madhuri Khanolkar, who began her career with Cipla for an illustrious journey of more than 15 years at P&G, contributing to product development across healthcare, perfumes, and safety. Sir, ma'am, it's privilege to have both of you with us. Thank you for joining.
We are happy to join this
Now,
podcast for BCP Alumni.
And thank you, Yash, for
yes.
roping us into this conversation.
So let's start from the beginning. What inspired you both to pursue pharmacy and life sciences as a career?
Since I became the pharmacist before Madhuri, 1 year before Madhuri. So I will say that what made my journey to this, I was supposed to become an engineer. 1978, I applied for pharmacy, and that's how I got into pharmacy. But I will say that I immensely enjoyed my career in pharmacy. So I will say this way: the engineer who missed to become engineer ultimately become a successful, I will say, industrial pharmacist, not a pharmacist.
As for me, since I was born and brought up in Mumbai, I was aware of the career of pharmacy. Uh, in those days, when you mentioned to people, they still did mistake it for farming. But to be honest, when I completed my 12th standard, I was considering microbiology and pharmacy, and microbiology was my first choice. Had I got the microbiology admission, I would have gone there. But I'm so glad that I did pharmacy, because later learned that I like to connect different things, and which is the unique opportunity the pharmacy course has given me. And as we talk further, I could probably try and get in examples for that.
That's wonderful. I have always heard that first sparks of inspiration set the foundation in the career. So, ma'am, you began your career in Cipla, and so you started at Sanofi before your long careers in P&G. So, what were your first impressions stepping into the pharmaceutical industry?
I was recommended to sort of, why don't you go and apply in Cipla, through one of our visiting professors. And that's how I started in Cipla till sort of a second change came. I did work in one or two other companies. And when I left India, I used to work with Merind. And that was also very good experience.
Before I submitted my thesis, I started applying for MPharm. And because all the time when we were doing masters, it was by research and not by exam and dissertation. So I was starting applying, and I got first call in interview for Glaxo, which is the GlaxoSmithKline or GSK. And then I had an interview. I had two interviews with Glaxo. One is in Thane, one is in Burli, because that time their head office was in behind the Doordarshan. And I got the job. At the same time, I got a call from Hext, and that time it was not Sanofi, it was Hext. And so I went there. I had interview, and after 2 days, again I got a second interview with the R&D manager. And what happened is I said, "Oh, but I already got a job in Glaxo." He went to HR. He got my appointment letter then and there only. And before even I submitted my thesis, he said, "From within a week, you tell me when you are going and joining me here." And that's how I got my first job. And the story doesn't end there. That time, the plant manager of Hext, who was Dr. Bhalla's very good friend, who became my M-Farm referee. And when I was working there in Hext, everybody said, "Oh, he's your referee, be careful." So that's how I started my career.
Oh, that is amazing. We can summarize it as like the best parts are the ones that we don't fully plan for. So you have nearly worked for like 30 years in PNG. You've worked across pharma, pharmaceutical. So looking back, what were some of your defining moments that shaped your growth?
As I said earlier, like, I'm a pharmacist who missed becoming an engineer. So my always love was towards more of manufacturing. And so that's what happened in early my career. So interestingly, that time there is one lady who used to work in Hex research, because Hex that time has a basic research lab. So she suggested my name. I get a call from the Procter and Gamble R&D in Calway that time. There I said yes. Then I worked there for 1993 to 1999, and then I came to UK. I joined OTC division, which was ultimately like working on Vicks related other brand, sub brand, we used to call it Nyquil, Dayquil, and of course like MSR formulations and other thing. And I continued there between 99 to 2013 before the other opportunity came. And this time, my mentor in PNG asked me whether you want to move to Singapore. Again, there was yes or no movement. And should I go, should I not go? Because we settled down already here for 13 years. And yeah, about 13 years. And then should we leave and then go there? And because I was really liking my job in OTC, and this job was in beauty, what you stated there. So beauty and skincare. The beauty was a completely new area to a pharmacist. But then when I went there and I say, oh, what is skin cream? It's a emulsion. It's a oil in water emulsion or a water in oil emulsion. So I started looking into adjacencies, and somewhere I came out thinking that, oh, we don't make molecule for the chassis. We make chassis for the molecule. And when I brought that concept, I brought one super antioxidant into skincare, which was really written down that we cannot make a formulation for it. And PNG, I think in last year launched that, and it's the most successful molecule in China and Japan at the moment. And that was very enriching experience. So I will say I love PNG because that taught me what is consumer related formulation means. I love Hex because that taught me what the technology and how you develop technology. And when I put this thing together, I had a successful career in PNG. A bit long story, but 40 years, I think that makes sense.
Yes, yes, definitely, sir. This is very inspiring. Ma'am, about you.
So when I think back, I will still again say, and you might find some similarities, but I'll see if I could bring out any different points. Cipla definitely built my foundations, because in Cipla we started a project in R&D and we stayed with that project right till first three production batches were manufactured. So it showed you the full end-to-end journey, and I got to learn a lot, which I realized that helped me a lot in my future career. And incidentally, somebody from PNG once asked me that we are desperate to have somebody who has skills like you. Our project is otherwise going to be whatever. To cut a long story short, I decided to give it a shot. I actually joined PNG as a contractor, working on hourly basis, which then converted to a full-fledged career. But whatever feedback I got, whenever I got the feedback, they all always said that you think holistically, you think futuristically, you anticipate future product issues, and take care of it right in the lab scale. Which so that was a whole different level of experience, but definitely on the foundation of what I learned in Cipla, and actually, firstly, what the pharmacy curriculum taught me.
So you have always been passionate about innovation. That is what I've read about you. So among pharma, nutraceutical, skin and beauty, what excites you the most, and what can you say like which is more challenging in terms of formulation or research or product execution?
Okay. And that's a very interesting question, because one of the thing is like um, working with Dr. Ballab in Bombay Color Pharmacy when I was doing my master's there. I was the first person who started a control release formulations in my lab, and nobody was before me has done any work in a control release formulation. And that time, control release, delayed release, sustained release, they were all spoken in one language kind of thing. And first, my molecule I worked was isosorbide dinitrate, which is an anti-anginal drug, which we wanted to create a sustained release formulations with that. And interestingly, when I was doing a sustained release formulations, and I also created an ointment for isosorbide dinitrate, because that molecule could penetrate through the skin, which could apply on the chest, maybe get a better benefit and all those kind of things. So Balas sir once told me like, but hey Khanolkar bhai, you were working on control release. How you got the idea of this making his ointment? And I said, sir, when I looked at the molecule and I decided that probably it could be a better molecule for making an ointment. And that's really put my like basics. Like I say, if you work and then if you have adjacencies running along with you, either with the formulations or either with the molecule, you can always go and then explore another space. Before that, yes, when I joined Next, and then we had a complete issue of the again by luck or by chance, I don't know. But the first project that I got again on sustained release formulations. So that's the pentoxyphylline sustained release formulations I was developing with Gorgum. So imagine like I was using a natural ingredient and making a sustained release formulation with that. And those days we were selling this tablet for 5 rupees per tablet. I'm talking about a story of 1985, 86. Okay. So here is a day I'm in the contract manufacturing in Ahmedabad and first batch failed. A tablet, rather than staying for 8 hours, they disintegrated within 15 minutes like a normal tablet. You can imagine what could be the situation. I am a new person, just in the industry for 2 years, and this is my project. I am making there a batch and then which is disintegrating. So it was quite a uproar, and they will say, oh, market will be starving, this is our star product, and started looking why it is happening. And then after doing couple of experiments in the lab and all that, I realized particle size is the issue, because natural product and higher particle size was not a perfect combination. So I have milled it and I made the formulation perfect. Problem solved. That's how my innovation journey starts. Then when PNG, I started working with Vaporub was there. Then there was a product came to me which is a Vicks First Defense, which I started from scratch. Now that formulation is in the market and which became the hero during the COVID because it's a nasal spray for antiviral benefits and all that. So and then where I got into a journey of filing patents for my innovations. I have about roughly about 50 granted patents and some more applications sitting there. And still I surprise sometimes me, I get, oh, your patent got granted. Just I think 2 years back, where the one of the patent got granted or something like that. But that's how my innovation journey is.
One thing I've noticed in both of your responses is that you had, you know, predicting and analytical skills, thinking where the product can, what can affect, how can the stability get affected, etc. So how did you develop these skills?
For me, I call this skill as the lateral thinking or the analogy. Find the lateral connections. With training, you start to sort of see like, oh, what's happening? How are these trees maintaining the moisture? Can I do the same thing for my skin? What's the mechanism in those plants that I can mimic in my skin? So that's how you try to look at what can be reapplied, whether from nature or from any other industries. And sometimes when I said a few things like, oh, you know what, then let's do it this way, or this is how we can manage it. How did you think of it? And I'm like, oh, my pharmacy has taught me to think. So bringing in the pharmacy connection to perfumery. I then moved to air care, which was again all about perfumes. So I took my perfumery experience to air care. So I got rather my journey has been more lateral to different business units, giving me the opportunities to sort of make those connections. And curiosity was something that was instilled into us. It may have been a quality, but Dr. Bhalla definitely sort of would ask us those questions or would sort of spark off those discussions. So right from our post graduation days, we were sort of, that thinking had started.
So basically, we can say that BCP sowed the seeds, of the
Of course, of
curiosity and
course.
lateral thinking.
Of course, BCP, the curriculum, and our staff. I definitely sort of a lot of credit to them.
I will add a couple of things to what Madhuri has said, and I just built on that what she has said. Is one is for me the critical thinking is the most important things. Like when I'm working on the project, working on my project, what I will say is where it will not work, where things could go wrong, where I need to, and then what, we always laugh in PNG, we say backup plan. So when you are making the plan, your backup plan should be ready so that you will not. And then second thing is the pharmacy career, as Madhuri said, pharmacy subject, the way it is
Curriculum.
taught in Bombay University or in BCP or curriculum, I will say that helps a lot because when I started looking into PNG's various business, what is laundry? Is a granulation. It's like when you say aerial powder, it's nothing but a spray dried granulation. What is skin cream? It's an emulsion. What is toothpaste? It's a dispersion or a suspension. So if I start looking various formulations and I start getting adjacency with my pharmacy knowledge, and then adding that analytical skill, as Madhuri was saying earlier, like wherever you go, pick up what is there in that business, and where whatever the job is, whatever the formulation is, whatever the work is, no work is small because every work teaches you a lot, and keep that mind open. Okay.
Something definitely we as a student we need to learn this. And since we are talking about BCP, so is there any favorite memory or anything which you would like to share with us?
I think one memory is sitting here.
There are many memories.
So this is the memory. Like we were doing the MPAM together. She was 1 year, I think 1 year junior, yes, 1 year junior to me, and we both were Dr. Balla student. So that's one memory. But Madhuri and me like started our journey in BCP. There are lots of memories, and I will say my memory will go with Dr. Krishna also because he was one of my very good friend, and with uh, Krishna and like like Mala was my senior 1 year, so which was another interesting thing. Like we used to have a lot of fun. Like Dr. Balla used to get lassi from home. Sometimes we used to bring from his bottle that lassi and keep it there. And so there used to be lots and lots of fun we used to do. We used to spend. So to know everybody, Dr. Tipnis with the name used to call everybody and say that please go to class, don't loiter here and all those kind of things. People, if they are playing table tennis, bunking their lecture and they say Dr. Tipnis is coming, they will run all the way from one end to another. So a lot of fun like that.
uh, he's saying the, I mean, the funny memories can be endless, but there is something else that I recall from BCP days, and I would like to mention it here is uh, BCP's connection with Indian Pharmaceutical Association and our involvements as students being volunteers in many of the functions that IPA conducted were invaluable experiences for us. That's where we could interact with industry people. We could hear their stories. They would become our role models or inspire us. And that's where we also learned some interpersonal skills, which I realized later when I moved out of India and joined a multinational were very, very critical to your success. So the whole fabric of our college life, not just the lectures or the practicals, all built us for future.
And one thing what I will add to that, because Dr. Balla has a tall personality and of course Dr. Tiffany both, and they had great connection into industry. A lot of people used to come to college, talk to students, and like enriching their experience. And my experience with IPA goes long back because Kaushik Desai was my another senior, which is senior to even Mala. So Kaushik and me and Madhuri also was for a few years, few months worked when Kaushik was there. And Kaushik's father, who used to be IPA's general secretary, and then Kaushik became later on general secretary. So I became the first student activity member of IPA and joined IPA Council, Maharashtra Council. And I used to, because of my handwriting those days was better, not anymore. I used to make posters for
Banners.
banners and posters for different colleges so that they get displayed and then student will come for the lectures. So lectures could be sometimes in university, sometimes in BCP.
You started, being a volunteer at IPA, and I guess you both would be happy to know that IPA conducts, cultural and tech fests in BCP. It is hosted by BCP named RX. Apart from that, our BCP also has several committees, and these are all student led, and our management, our college supports all of these activities. So, this is something I wanted to tell you because you mentioned about
Yes.
it.
I must say, each
Actually,
time in social media, on social media, when I read any of this, because now we are connected, right? Thanks to alumni, I always say that, wow, we were still, I say that we thought we were doing a lot, but within the boundaries of pharmacy field. And now I see that you all are looking for holistic establishment,
yeah.
which is an absolute need of the hour.
When we look at these committees, there's one thing which is team building, there's leadership experiences. So,
Mhm.
from your experience of decades of leadership in industry, so what are the important lessons this generation, the Gen Zs, should learn?
And I will go there. One of the sayings of Warren Buffett, okay, learning never stops is one thing. Okay, if you want to become a leader, you can get to learn everything around. And that what he said some time back, he was not a public speaker, so he spent I think $50 to get the public speaking course. Even if you want to perform as a leader, perform as, you need to well informed on everything about your people, about what you work, about your journey that you're going to have, and all around. So that you should be aware of, like, what you're doing is one thing. Before you become the leader, you need to be a mentor, and that's where you will start attracting five of the members in your team to come and contribute. I will never word support, because that's the word has got no meaning.
History.
So is a contribution is the main thing, because every member of the team contributes a lot. And before you become manager, you need to become the leader, because leader is a different skill that manager. Leader has a followers, manager has no followers, manager has subordinate or a direct report. And if you want to be successful in your career, you need to be a leader. As I say, three things. One is learning. Everybody contributes, so give weightage to everybody, and don't become the manager, become the leader. Okay.
Yeah. I think he has quite said it. To me, also, leadership is about engaging people to your cause or to your purpose. And it may sound a bit, what you say, virtuous and not practical. In leadership, we don't have to bring our egos in it. You have to keep your ego aside, but just come together to achieve something and acknowledge each one's role within it. Teamwork is absolutely essential and more than ever in today's world. That's one major thing I learned when I moved to multinationals. Building a team and having people engaged to us is far more important than having 10 people reporting to me.
This lesson actually applies across careers. For the students who aspire to work in R&D or product development, so what do you think is more important in today's time when AI is evolving?
I think some things we have mentioned are timeless. The curiosity, the hunger for learning, and always now in I always said this before, but I feel now it makes even more sense when AI is coming. My personal opinion, AI has its role to play and definitely take advantage of it to sort of speed up your work or use it as a springboard.
I will start on the similar background and adding some more skills that what you need to be you need to acquire, you need to learn to be successful career in R&D. So first thing is, don't afraid to experiment. What will happen? My cream will break, but that is what you are doing the experiment. So first of all, just go into the lab, rather than procrastination is like, oh, this will work or that will work or that will work. Just go and do it. And what happens is when you start doing it in front of you, once you start your emulsion separating, or once you start your tablet is not coming out of the tablet machine and splitting and getting capping and all that, that gives you experience how to solve the problem. So as Madhuri said, the problem solving is one thing, but problem solving always comes with the in observation and learning is one thing. Second thing, never be afraid of failure. R&D is failure. Do you think the molecule that we have, say, beta blockers, was the first beta blocker that was synthesized in laboratory was a success? No. Why that is more successful and having less side effect? Was the first molecule had a less side effect? No. But every time when the clinical study done, every time the synthesis is done, we have learned.
As you mentioned, continuous learning is very important. And sir, you mentioned in the start that you have filed so many patents. We would really love if you could, give us some idea about how this patenting works. Because for the students who are in third year or second year, they do know about patents, but then they don't know how this process is, what generally takes, how much of time and what all departments get involved in it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then let me celebrate. I am not the only patent holder. Somebody sitting next to me is also a patent holder. So she can jump me and then correct me if
No.
I'm
Yes,
doing
definitely, definitely.
something not correct, because she was also a contributor for I think quite a good number, I think about
20.
20 patents, yeah, and different areas. So first I will say that when you start the experimental lab is not the patent in your mind, like but as you progress, you will make 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 batches. And in my again, I will talk about PNG world because I filed all my patent through PNG, because it's like then you can come to know is like is my product is really good? Is my product liked by my consumers or who are going to use my product? Is my innovation going to make enough money for the company? How the successful patent will come into horizon is, as I say, like when you're starting the work, you go and look what are the filings or what are the literatures available in the area where I'm going to work. Suppose I am started making COVID vaccine first time in India. Okay, who had made COVID vaccine? Oh, AstraZeneca has made it. Oh, the Pfizer has made it. What was their technology of making COVID vaccine different than my technology? Oh, am I using mRNA technology? And this is interesting to understand where you start.
I will just say that different types of work can lead to patenting. In my case, many a times it was a new technology because I have worked on upstream research, but sometimes it's the application. That is like the SARS is an example of application. Sometimes it is solving for some incompatibilities, that is the pH and the heavy metal bit that he spoke about. Sometimes it also comes through, like I have a patent on a method that I developed, which is a sensory method, which is not easy to develop, that supports a product, like supports the claims on a product in the market. So sometimes it is also sort of how do I support the benefit of the technology or the product that we are making. And then I came up with a method to prove that. So even that can land you into that can lead to a patent.
And sir, ma'am, you both have so much industrial experience, and there's so much to learn. As I reflect on your journey, uh, what do you think are the moments you are most proud of, uh, both individually and as a couple?
The journey never stops. And my proud moment is when my product really I see on the shelf. And when I see my first defense, which was launched in 2005, and when COVID came in 2020, and then product was effective on the COVID and saving the life, that's the proud moment for me.
Proud moment for me is always again when some of my colleagues will remember me for my human qualities, or they'll remember me as a friend, or they will say, oh, and then this is when we remembered you, or something like that. Because to me, I thrive more on human relations. Originally you had said that as alumni you would like to hear from us. And then I'm thinking about BCP has done this, BCP has done that, and I'm always grateful for it. My biggest moment of pleasure today was to see what all BCP is doing now, just like the various activities and the diversity of those activities of having literature clubs and the music clubs and so many other things, that I am feeling even more proud about BCP, and I wish the college lot of flourishing times ahead, because I see a lot of bright talent here. And I just want all of y'all to sort of have a resolve that we all can make a change. We as a pharmacists community can make a change, and let's join hands together to make that change happen. The oldies, the youngsters, and all, let's try to come together. Each one of us will definitely have something to contribute.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir and ma'am, for sharing your story, your insights, and your advices with the BCP students. It's been an honor to hear your journey. So thank you so much.